And hey there, 8th District family. Amy in the 8th here. Again, I am Amy Wentz. I am looking to become the next City Council representative for the 8th District. And so, as a part of that, we are doing these virtual town halls because we know that with COVID-19, we're not able to meet in person. And it's all good. Yeah, I think it's like a sound thing. Okay, so we're back. You all know we all have, we're working on our technical stuff to make sure this is great. But anyways, yeah, so because of COVID-19, we are not able to meet in person and do these town halls. So what we decided to do was a series of town halls that are virtual first. And then as we assess data and as we move throughout the phases, we'll see if we can do some in-person town halls closer towards the election time. But again, November 3rd is when the election is going to be happening. And I am asking for support. I'm asking for feedback and just really want the 8th District to give me a chance, give me a go. So with that said, this is our third town hall. We are, if you remember, I talked about at the last two how I have created my priorities in an acronym that spells out 8th. And so the E is for education, the I is for infrastructure, and then tonight is our growth session. The G is for growth. So we'll have another one coming up on housing, and that's going to be July the 27th at 7 p.m. So we'll look to see you there for that one. That's going to be really good. We'll talk all things housing. But tonight we're talking about growth. So if you want any more information about those town halls and anything about my platform, how to get in touch with me, how to get in touch with the team, you can visit my website, which is www.amyinthe8th.com. And the 8 is with the number 8. And yeah, you can connect with us there. You can check out my vision. I have it broken down, like I said, with those 6 priorities. And yeah, so we're going to get started now. I have a brief slideshow that I'm going to show you all, and then we have some guests coming in to talk and chat like we did last time. So we're excited about that, and I'll be introducing them soon. But I'm going to pull up my slideshow presentation. Okay. And hopefully you all will be able to see that. Can everybody see that? Give me some feedback in the comments too, by the way. This is not just me up here talking. I want to see folks, if you're on, make sure you're commenting so that I know that you're there. If you have a question, please just type it in the comments and then we'll get to it. Let's see, I have a clicker too. Clicker, y'all. And y'all notice my banner? We have a banner now. So remember before we had just wall. So now we have wall and banner. All right, so we're just gonna talk a little bit about growth by planning. Okay, so I was a member of the Economic Development Working Group with the Richmond 300, which kind of helped me be part of a planning process. Of course, I've done planning with work and other things, but as far as the city is concerned, and it really just enlightened me on the importance of planning and the importance of taking action on those plans. And so I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview about planning in the city, things that I've researched and just some things that I've noticed that we could probably improve on. So the first is, and if I look to the side, you all, it's because I have multiple screens, so it's okay. So yes, so first, the consolidated plan, that's a plan that happens every 5 years. And it kind of works off of the master plan and kind of keeps it updated. And then we have city ordinances where we focus on zoning, subdivisions, and like capital improvement projects. And those are things that if I was on city council, would be managing those types of plans. Then we also there is a economic revitalization of South Richmond plan that was just submitted, I think it was in 2019, and that kind of talks about our corridors and some of our key areas and a group of folks plans on how to revitalize economic development in the area. The one thing I noticed though when I was reviewing and looking at the plan is that I did not see but one 8th district resident, and the plan covers the 8th and 9th districts. there was only one 8th district resident on the planning commission, the group that was, that created the plan. So I think that's something that we can improve on right there, is that if we're going to be talking about Southside, we definitely need to have Southside representation on those groups that are working on it. And then, as a lot of people know, I think today is the last day that they're taking input on the Richmond 300 plan, and I'll put a link to that up so that people can see that. But yeah, that is the city's master plan that will take us all the way out to 2037. So that's huge, and that's key. So one of the ideas and the things that I want to do is, we have a lot of amazing civic associations here in the 8th district. And what I would like to do is have them to create mini master plans for their area as well, and kind of prioritize what they like to see in their neighborhoods. And so maybe if we can focus on three key things or 3 priorities in that area and create a plan for that space, then that's something that I can, as your council person, advocate for when it comes to budgeting and when it comes to, allotting resources. Because as we talked about last week in the infrastructure town hall, that is one of the things that kind of drives projects in a certain area. So if we have civic associations that are already aware of the issues that they have there, they know that they have speeding on a specific street, or if they have an area of the stormwater utility that's just not working for them, or areas where they like to see signs, it would be good to hear from the people who are in those neighborhoods. And then that's basically how I want to kind of do my planning, is based on theirs. So that's that. And also, it's just important to know, and learning this through the Richmond 300 process too, is that it's in the actual state code and the city code that we have to make plans. So the city and the city is responsible by law to create plans, and so that is why planning is really important. These are just some of the reasons why in the Code of Virginia, what the planning is supposed to do. And you can just read over those. I'm not going to just go through every one of them, but I just wanted to kind of show that this is why it's important as well. And then here is the actual Richmond City Charter, Chapter 17, that talks about what we're supposed to do when we're looking at planning. And as you can see, a lot of the things on these lists, we have a lot of issues with these particular items in Southside. And so we just need to make sure that the 8th district is represented at all times when planning is happening. All right, so one of the things I wanted to talk about is just, as we talk about growing, where are areas that we could see potential in, or areas we can use to incentivize spaces. So we have our corridors, especially the Hull Street corridor and Jefferson Davis Highway Route 1 corridor. And one of the things that I noticed when I read the Insights report is that the fastest growing employment sectors are accommodation and dining, education, and healthcare. And between 2000 and 2015, there was an increase in city residents employed in all sectors except information, manufacturing, public administration, and finance and insurance. So, knowing this, that might be an area where we could focus on our corridors as being like, hubs for those particular industries that we're not necessarily seeing growth in. So that was one of the ideas that I had as well. Current and past incentives to kind of help spur growth. So the city has had these incentives, and some of them are still in existence now, to try to kind of help with growth. Enterprise zones, if you've heard about those, care grants. This is when they take a certain specific area of the city and they incentivize that particular area to kind of bolster growth, get businesses to come and invest in the area, etc. The tax abatement programs. So recently, it has been reported and some data came out about how those programs don't necessarily reach all the way over into our district. And a lot of the people who are taking advantage of those programs live in other and more affluent areas. And so really trying to come up with programs and working with state legislators to create programs that are really going to benefit people who have been committed to the 8th district and who are, who want to remain. Facade improvement programs, like just beautifying areas. The mayor has an opportunity fund. And there's also like historic rehabilitation tax credits. And I know that there was, you all remember I led a, I'm not going to say rebellion against, because we all, of course, want to have historic, learn from our historic history and uplift historic districts. But there was a particular district that was going to be created in Blackwell. And as we researched the data for that specific district, we saw that I think it was like 82% of the people that take advantage of those programs make over $100,000 a year. And so when you're talking about incentivizing areas for growth, it's like, who are we incentivizing to grow? We want to make sure that 8th district residents are growing. And so as we look at these programs, we're just making sure, one thing I would do as a representative is just ensure that any program we do, that there is a disparity study so that we know how it negatively impacts people who are lower incomed or So and then there's a couple other programs on here as well. If you have any questions about any of these, just hit me up, because I've been studying and researching them, so I could tell you more about it, but I want to get through the presentation. So other things too that I noticed, there were 2 plans specific to Southside that were on the city's website. And one of them was the Old Manchester Neighborhood Plan that came out September 1997. And then there was the Blackwell Revitalization Plan that came out in November 1996. And both of them came out in 1996, one in September, one in November. I don't know if you've been to Old Manchester lately, but most, if not all, of those parts of those plans have, been, they've been rolling. Okay. Some of them I would say, we're good. And some of them, it would be up to people's opinions on that. But one thing that sticks out is that the Blackwell Revitalization Plan, which encompassed a lot of community members and a lot of community voices, a lot of the things that they were promised in that plan, and we can link the plan. Should I do that? I can do that when, what I'll do is when my first guest comes up, I will link the plan so that you all can see for yourself that a lot of the promises that were made in that plan, they were never acted upon. So I think that would be one of the things that I would first look at is like, okay, let's just look at what was promised before and see where we stalled, why we stalled, and try to see if we can take action from there. Oops, let me go back. And let me just say too, these are areas that are right next to each other. So there's no reason why, one shouldn't have been done over the other. Anyways, okay, moving on. So this is one of those graphs or images, graphics that kind of made me pause when I looked at this. This is the Health Opportunity Index, and so if you look closely, you'll see that it's measuring a person's opportunity to live a long and healthy life, okay, by where they live. And if you notice, it says, they have the highest, that's the longest that you live, high, middle, low, and lowest. And lowest is the lightest color. I just want to focus in. Can I point? Am I able to use my mouse to point? Yeah. Okay. Look, this is our district, you all. This is the 8th district, and we are encompassed entirely by the lowest, the color that represents the lowest. That is frightening. That's alarming. And the fact that this isn't like, this is front page news, y'all. This is not, an entire district should not look like this. So this is definitely an opportunity area for growth. And we are actually going to do a health and safety town hall. That's the last town hall. And so we're going to talk about all of this in depth, but I'm just showing you these are some of our opportunities for growth. We definitely need to grow in the area of ensuring that our residents are leading healthy lives and that we are living long lives. And it doesn't make any sense that you can just live a few miles up the road and live longer. Like that's just not cool. Opportunity for growth. The other one is our public facilities. So if you look at this, and again, this is from the insights report that was used in the Richmond 300 process. If you look at this in this slide here, you'll see this is where the city owns property, city libraries, schools, fire stations, police stations, and then other public parks and areas. A lot of times, cities use these types of facilities to kind of spur growth in certain areas. And so if you notice in our district, again, I'm going to do my little thing here, the 8th district, we are the district, even though geographically we're the biggest district, we have the less amount of public facilities. And so, and just looking and reimagining how we want the 8th district to look like and how we want to grow, this would be an opportunity to see some new public facilities to help spurt that growth in certain areas, especially the nodes that we've identified in the Richmond 300 process. And then I think there's only a couple more slides. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this down and we're gonna come back and talk about this after we talk to our guests. But I'm going to bring on my first guest because one thing that's really important to me is that we can't talk about moving forward and growing, right, if we don't assess and talk about the history and Zoe's here, y'all, and talk about the past. So I'm gonna bring up Miss Monica. And so Monica, as far as she is a 8th district resident, y'all. Okay, she's an educator. She's the founder of Afro City and a trustee of Renewal of Life Trust, which is a ministry that focuses on land stewardship. Her background also includes professional services in transportation, state parks, and project management. Pilgrimages to sacred pyramids and ports in the Americas and Africa inspire her progressive interpretation of historic sites and work in land advocacy. And listen, let me just these are the people that we have working around us. You know what I mean? There's no reason why the 8th district can't be in higher heights when we have these types of assets and resources right here in our district. So Monica, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Welcome. Thank you so very much for having me. It's such a pleasure, and thank you so much for laying out all the information for the plans, the master plans, because it's so important. Our health and liberty is why we're here, and your observations of us having that talent already in the district, I think is so very important. So very important. So if you want, I'll just go ahead and jump into the
yeah. While you bring yours up, I'll just also tell everyone. So while researching our growth, I've been looking at not just the master plan that we have on the table, but the previous master plan that we had that took us through 2020. And her name is right there on there. Okay, so she was a part of the process before and can help guide us forward. So yep, I'll let you go ahead and pull it on up.
Okay, thank you. And one of the things, and I'm so thankful that you are continuing the dialogue on green spaces, because I think that is so very important. And it really does have a huge impact on our health and well-being. And so, green spaces is where it's at. And so thank you for bringing that forward. I'm going to talk about, like you said, growth, and I'm also going to share a little bit about the history of our area. And this first slide, as you see, is one of the city's gateways here with 161 Bells Road, Warwick Road. This is the back end, the south side, one of our gateways. Well, we have several gateways here in the 8th district. Actually, we are the gateway district for the city. As you know, Route 1, or you may know that Route 1 sits on the Meridian, which is part of our transportation and industry networks. Meridian is a causeway of magnetic energy. And it's where Richmond really got its start. If you look at the meridian for the city, you'll also see that the railroad runs along the meridian. Route 1 runs along the meridian. Our I-95 highway runs along the meridian. And many of our ports came from this commercial and trade energy sort of center. So we have the town of Warwick, which now sits in Chesterfield, but Warwick Road, which is in our district, that's where we get the name from. Also, the town of Manchester was another commercial center where they manufactured clothing, shoes, and meal. And I'm so thankful that you talked about manufacturing, because this is really where the 8th District Foundation is. And also, Broad Rock is historically known as a colonial racetrack, but it got its name because there was a broad rock, which was situated on this mound or hill that is in the Broad Rock District. You may know that the Broad Rock District has one of the higher elevations in the city, McGuire Hospital.
And one thing I noticed, Monica, in looking at the previous master plan, is that they actually called, it was like you had Manchester and you had Broad Rock. Like they called this whole area, even where I live, Broad Rock. So I thought that was really interesting.
Right. And part of I think, and I have yet to do this, I've said I've always wanted to do this, is follow the tributaries. I know that this whole region includes the Chesapeake Bay preservation area, but also the South Side is known for its waterways. There are a lot of underground streams and water sources, but like I said, they're underground, so you don't see them so very much. Okay, so the whole district, when we think of the district, we have to think of it in terms of land, and what used to be here, and then economy. So if you follow the etymology of economy, it means home, and it goes back to our ecology and our land. And I think a lot of times when we think of development or master planning for a city, we forget that we actually do live, on spaces of greenway, less so than in former decades, but still, this is what it once was. And the economy is, about natural resources, capital resources, human resources, and technology. And we have all of those things right here.
Yes.
All of those things. So I want to, I thought this was a great way to remember what we used to have. At the Whole Street Festival one year, I was there and had a table. I was asked to ask the participants about what you remember from the district from long ago. And this one really stuck out for me. It was somebody who came up and said, I said, are you talking about right here? They said, yeah, I remember when my grandmother had chickens, hogs, tobacco, and the biggest garden in the neighborhood. And it was so big that they had to give food away. And so again, the 8th district, though we are known for industry. And commerce, it was once and not such a distant future. A distant past. A lot to do with agriculture and green spaces. So I too went and looked at the master plan and picked out some things that really struck me that I want to sort of talk about. And like I said, I wanted to highlight that agricultural piece, because here we are in 2020, and the master plan is telling us that 2 in 5 residents do not have access to quality food. The master plan is telling us that the median...
Hold on a second, Monica. Let me just make sure that we can see your...
Okay.
Can you try to hit to try to expand it so that we can...
Okay, let me see.
Because it's cutting off a little bit, and I want to make sure that folks see this.
Okay. You know what? It's probably just this old PowerPoint.
Okay. Well, you know what? Do it like this. Put it up like this, like how you have it on the screen like this, and then we'll just try to, because we want to make sure. There we go. Yeah, we'll do it that way.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
now you can hit that button at the bottom next to the percentage. See your percentage at the bottom right hand corner, and then hit
Percentage at the bottom right hand corner.
yeah,
No. Oh yeah. Oh,
right
okay.
there. No, to the left of it. To the yeah, you can go full screen. Basically, I'm trying to get you. Yeah, go full screen now.
Oh, okay. That
Okay,
work.
there we go. Perfect. Okay,
Uh,
y'all. And if you
thank
see me looking side to side, everybody, it's because I have two screens. So I'm going to be watching along with you all. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so very much. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this is Richmond 300 present challenges that we that these are identified in the draft master plan. So this is stuff that's right now going on. The median household income along Jefferson Davis Highway decreased by 50%. Parts of Southside experienced a decline in educational attainment. And 30% of all Richmond renters receive a notice of eviction. Receive a notice of eviction in any given year. That one really did floor me.
Monica, this right here, this is like I mean, this is devastating. This really is devastating. So there needs to be really an all hands on deck approach to folks just really reaching their arms out to the 8th district, because this right here is just unacceptable for any city, especially ours.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But and of course it was not always like this. And so going back to history, now see the title here says African American schools in Chesterfield County, but this is actually this is a representation of African American schools around the region. And we have, as you already articulated, we have the talent here within the district to amend and fix many of these challenges that we face. Many of the communities that we are a part of, these very distinguished people were also a part of. So, for example, on the left right here is James Blackwell. The Blackwell community is named after the first African-American school, which was in Manchester. We have Miss Dorothy Height, who was an educator and activist dedicated to racial and women's ecology, also from Richmond. And then on this bottom side here is a very well-known economist named James Averill. And there were many, 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 many more. But I want to talk about the Hickory Hills Training Center as it relates to all of these issues, because, and it's really ironic because I was just looking up for some last minute facts, and Hickory Hills School, though it was a part of Richmond Public Schools long before it was merged to Richmond Public Schools, it was independently organized by James Spencer, who was one of the former principals. But in 1950, this was one of our earliest workforce development centers. And also there were, a lot of farms out here as well. And just a lot of Richmond's population went through Hickory Hill School. And Blackwell, I'm not sure about Blackwell's history, whether it was a high school or not, but Hickory Hill, in fact, was a high school. And has a long, rich legacy. So there are many educators and many people who have come out of Hickory Hill School, which is located on Bells Road. And I forgot to mention earlier that Bells Road is named after a former African-American who was formerly enslaved, who got possession of a farm. And he's well known and regarded because he eliminated the tolls that were on the farm.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's where Bells Road gets its name, which sits on Hickory Hill, which so speaking of neighborhoods, so a number of neighborhoods got together and independently purchased land, and that's how Hickory Hill came to be.
Okay.
So even though it may seem like we have so many of these issues today, historically, we have been very much a self-sustaining community.
All right, district.
And also, one of the things that we want to remember about our communities is that many of the housing stock that's part of um, our district was formerly built for corporate management to some of the industries that were in place, like Philip Morris and DuPont and some of the others. So, that's how our neighborhoods really evolved. Sort of cottage homes for the people who were working for these specific industries. And I know many still do, but at the same time, I don't think that there's enough.
And let me just tell you too, Monica, as I was out before the pandemic getting signatures to appear on the ballot, I met a couple who moved here from another state, I think another country. I asked them why they settled on that particular area of Woodstock. We were in the Woodstock neighborhood, and they were telling me that they did research. Hold on one second, y'all. Come and say hi. Sorry. Everybody say hi to Zoe.
Hi, Zoe.
Okay, are you good? What you need? Okay, go ahead. All right, y'all. The kids are home with us all the time, and so she is Princess Belle tonight. But yeah, no, I wanted to say that he had done research and told me, he educated me on the fact that that neighborhood was actually, those houses were built by the company, and they were given to the workers that worked in the tobacco company. So I started doing my research on that too as well, and you can kind of see how they all have wells, and he was telling us that they weren't initially on the water line, and so that's why he wanted it, because he wanted to be able to have well water, and so anyways, I just thought it was fascinating. But again, that story came from he actually picked his home in the 8th district based on that history. So I thought that was kind of cool. But go ahead, back to the presentation.
That's right along the lines, because as we're saying, it's a green space. It was for many years. We might be finding ourselves having environmental challenges right now, and might be affecting, might be a contributing factor to our healthcare. So, so for me, knowing this history, it's just imperative that we, like you said, focus on our healthcare and other things that will contribute to us, growing stronger economically, as well as, and I really do appreciate your emphasis on quality of life. I think it's so very important. So speaking of, I just want to highlight a couple of things also about our district. Number one, that about 50,000 working age adults live close to the port. So when we talked about the gateway, and we talked about all the, the different gateways that we have, one of the major gateways, and like I said, is the center of commerce and trade for the whole city. We sit in the backyard, and we have not had the opportunity to take advantage of or be a participant of this asset that is here in our community. 40% of the city, 40% of the people who live in our district live near the port. And so it should be an asset that we should, be engaged with, especially also since 30% of economic growth is attributed to exports. Going back to your emphasis on manufacturing, which I think is very important, because when we see the largest employers that we have in the city, they are already focused on healthcare and technology, but agriculture and manufacturing are not some of those areas that we are, that we can plug into. And 50% of the nation's consumers and manufacturing establishments are located within 750 miles of the port. So the port is very central for the whole country, not just the 8th district, but I really think that it's a wonderful opportunity that we could leverage and enhance our community, neighborhoods, as well as, all aspects of economic development. And finally, just want to talk about our, just saying that in order to get to the future, we must see ourselves in the future. So thank you so very much for the work that you're doing and the dialogue that you are engaging the community in. I think it's so very important. And that concludes the presentation.
No, thank you so much. And I know we had talked about before that we wanted to also talk about our indigenous brothers and sisters and how, where this land came from initially. And so we can highlight that and uplift that in another session. Maybe we'll do a special history session where we talk about all of that too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Excellent.
really appreciate you. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my ideas real quick, and I'd love for you to just stay on just in case people have questions later, and then we can come up. And then I'm going to bring on I'm going to bring on my next guest after I talk about my ideas, because I'm going to segue into why it's important that he comes on. So you can say it again. Oh, okay. I need to go full screen, and I do that by how are y'all? Oh, yep, got it. Boom. All right, here we go. Okay, so when we talk about growth, and all of this stuff is on my website. So if you don't catch it here, it's okay. You can go back to look at my website. But I want to bring it up here instead of at the end, because I'm going to segue into my next guest, and I want him to, to kind of piggyback off of this. But one of the things that I've noticed, and I talked about it the last two sessions, is that we need an increased and effective communication plan strategy across all platforms. And so what I mean by that is, like, even during times like this, during COVID-19, it's important that we hear from our representative so that we know what resources that we need. We want to know, access to programs that we need in order to sustain our lives through crisis like this. We want to be able to know how we can help our neighbors. And so I felt like there was a complete, lack of communication during this whole process. Even still, we're still going through it. I am very disappointed in the fact that I can hear from other representatives on plans and, hey, we're moving into phase 3, and this is what phase 3 looks like. And we're just not getting the same amount of communication in the 8th district. I found out too that we are the lowest performing census reporting district. So our folks are not reporting to the census, and that is a clear reason why, is because folks just not, there's a lot of people that aren't getting the word out. They're not getting the reminders. So that's one of my ideas as far as growth. In order for us to grow, we got to be able to communicate. And so I really want to come up with a plan, and I already kind of have, that involves monthly newsletters, emergency correspondence in cases like COVID-19, where there are emergencies where you'll just get, a letter in the mail that has information about resources. Also being able to stream all district meetings so that people can go back and look at them if they couldn't make it. They can, of course, come in person if they want to, if that's their preference. But also, some folks don't really, they might be cooking dinner. They don't even want to come to the meeting. They just want to get the Cliff Notes. Like, we'll be able to send an after action review report afterwards that says, this is what we talked about at the district meeting if you missed it. Just making sure people are, if they want to know things, I'm going to make sure that they know things. If they don't want to know, then that's a different animal that we have to tackle. But if they want to know, I'm going to make sure they know. The other thing is a focus on, actually, I'll come back to that one. So intentional collaborations with residents and follow representatives for collective impact and growth for all residents. I say that because it is important that I, as your representative, am able to communicate with other members of City Council, as well as the school board member for our district, as well as administrations, as well as government employees. Like, I want to make sure that I'm a collaborator and that I can communicate effectively with folks so that we can get things done. So we can get things done, because that's what we have, all the plans. Now we need to take action. The other thing is roving the district meetings. I think that we've grown accustomed to really loving having the meetings at the satellite restaurant, but we are really not making it attainable for other folks in other areas. So as I move around the district and talk to people in Woodstock and Blackwell and Belmont Woods and other areas, Control Farms, British Camp Farms, our district is huge geographically, and we need to make sure that we can accommodate everybody when it comes to district meetings. So I would like to rove the meetings around. And again, we'll have other ways you can access them. Translation services. If you speak another language and you want to come to our meeting, you will be able to understand what we're saying. And speaking of that, we are going to be transcribing all of these town halls in Spanish and reposting them so that our Spanish speakers can hear what we're talking about as well and join the conversation. And then we're also going to do an all Spanish town hall where the whole thing is in Spanish. And I'm even practicing a nice little intro so that we can so that I can do that. I've been doing my Duolingo classes. Also, identify all parks in public spaces and thriving activity centers in the 8th district. Like, it's important that we start promoting on doing bringing some of the city's culture and climate and some of the things that they're doing as a city to kind of help with entertainment, that we bring them over to the 8th district too. So exploring that, making sure that we are thriving over here. We have no festival over here. Like, I'm trying to do all that. Like, we're going to be able to access cool things and great energy right here in the 8th district without leaving. Public art for area beautification. There are so many amazing art groups here. We have like one of the, I mean, I'm just going to say it's the #1 art school. I don't really know if it is or not, but I mean, there's so many dope artists coming out of Richmond and that are here in Richmond. There is no reason why we are not helping to beautify our areas with public art and partnering with a lot of these artists. So that's one of them. And then the last one, I'm going to go back up to the second one, is focus on enhanced private-public partnerships. I really want to create an 8th district business guide. And what this business guide would do is let folks know that, hey, instead of going to this particular hardware store, we have one on Raw Rock. Or instead of going to get gas at these particular places, these are our gas stations. These are where you can get, this is where you can get food. These are our grocery stores. I really want to, these are our tax businesses. These are, so that we're starting to utilize the businesses that are right here, that have stood the test of time with us, that are committed to our district. We need to make sure that we have a guide that we can give back to them as well. And in addition to that, I want to make sure that all of our 8th district businesses are really being good neighbors to us as the 8th district. And so in areas where there could be some work that could be done, and maybe community groups together with businesses to kind of help beautify areas, that is something that I really want to work on. And also, it would be really awesome if they, when they're posting jobs, that they could post jobs for 8th district residents first. So like maybe there's a 2-week incubator where we put a job is posted for 8th district residents, where we live and where we play, we can also work. And so then after that, if no one is applying or if there's no qualified candidate, then it becomes open to the public. So those are just some of my ideas. And I want to bring my next guest on because his story of growing up in the 8th district, and the park that he grew up in is actually not the 8th district right now, but it might be when they redraw the lines again. But I love to bring Montrell on. Hey, Montrell.
Hey, what's up?
Montrell Brown, everyone. And as we talk about businesses and partnering with businesses, it is really important to me that, like we said before, about using assets in our community, really investing in people who are here, who went to our schools, who have great ideas. And I'll just let you, Montrell, tell your story and, just tell us a little bit about how you got your start. And then I'm going to, just interlude with some praise every once in a while as you tell your story.
Okay. So she said my name is Montrell Brown. I'm not from Richmond, Virginia. And I grew up in Hillside Court all my life. My family, I moved out, but I have family still in Hillside, friends still in Hillside. I still go see them every day. And I started my company. I went to George Wythe High School, graduated from George Wythe. It was rough, but we made it. And I got a job at Food Line. And I worked there for 4 years. Then I just quit and started my lawn care business. And
tell them what your business name is. It's the cutest name.
My company name is Brown's Lawn and Order.
Lawn and Order, y'all. That's so cute. Look at the little show me your shirt. It's just so cool. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Brown's Lawn and Order, y'all. Okay, go ahead.
But yeah, I was working at Food Line for 4 years, then I just quit. Because then my manager, he was talking about cutting grass, and then I said, I'm gonna try it, and I just tried it a couple times. And I failed a whole lot, like a couple years. And before I quit my job, I failed a couple times, buying lawnmowers and stuff from a guy across the street from me. It kept breaking down in the middle of a job, so I just quit. One year I quit, so I'm just gonna save money to get the right equipment. And but I don't know. Like, it's God. Like, I don't know.
And where do
Just
you
stuff
cut?
just.
Where is one of your contracts where you cut grass?
Oh, my best contract is Hillside Court.
Okay, y'all. So this is what
Yeah,
I'm talking about. Okay. We need to
yeah,
be supporting the people who are in our district, right? And helping them to curate a space for themselves and to providing solutions for our city that we already need, right? So this is just an example. Go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry. I just wanted to I want to make sure that people understand, when we're talking about growth, we're talking about ensuring there is an enhancement in the quality of life of people, and that we are fostering their ideas and making sure that they're able to implement their ideas and really create businesses, pathways to entrepreneurship, pathways for our students in Richmond Public Schools at George Wythe. Like, tell me, like, if a program would have existed, like an incubator with the city, so that it would help kind of, they would have helped kind of guide you, you might not have had so many obstacles.
yeah, yeah. That's true. And but as I was saying, I had quit my job, and then I started cutting grass, and then one year I just say forget it. Now I'm gonna get my business license. I got my business insurance, and I got workman's comp and everything before I even started going full time. And so my first year with my business license and everything, we did pretty good with the residential houses. And my second year, we were just going, and I was down here sat at my cousin's house, and I seen a guy. He had told me he was gonna invite me to the bid meeting, and then I went to the meeting. I didn't know what I was doing in the meeting, and I just put in my bid, and somehow I won. And that was 4 years ago.
All
So I
right.
had the contract for 4 years. So, and we're here now.
Yes, that's exciting. But I'm just, it's your success story is one that I want to see over and over again, and what in all different types of, we talked earlier about some of our areas in economic development that we could be growing from as a city. And so if we already have identified that those are the areas that are growing, and those are the things that Richmond is not really, we're not doing right now, those are the pathways that we need to be providing for folks just like you, they can take that to the next level. We were talking to the other day just about Hillside, and how, the recreation club that was down there, has been gone for 13 years. The boxing gym that a lot of people were able to utilize has been gone for about 3 or 4 years. Just,
We still have a boxing gym, but it's at Southside Ducks.
yeah, okay,
That's the
yeah, it
gym
moved
that,
over to
yeah,
Southside Community Center.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, behind Southside Community Center. Well, we missed, I think, the one that we don't have anymore, Ninth Dimension. I think they're gone now. That was right there on Hull in our
Yeah,
district. It was on Hull Street.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, just making sure that folks are, have pathways to be able to do business with the city if that's something that they have on their mind and on their heart. And but that's why we're doing these meetings. So is there anything else you want to share with us, Montreal?
um, you just got to start. You just got to start somewhere.
Yes, you just got to have it in your mind, right? Have it in your
Yeah,
mind and start. Well,
just start whatever you have.
we appreciate for you for sorry Food Lion that you all missed him, but we are so glad to have him as a thriving city business, and a good business that we can learn from, and that it can be an example for a lot of people to follow. I'm gonna keep you both on, and we're just gonna kind of go look and see if there's anyone in the comments that had anything that they mentioned or anything that they wanted to share, and we'll see. Oh, Teresa, yes. So Teresa said, when does the public comments close for Richmond 300 plans? So I believe that today, the 13th, was the last day to provide public comment via their survey. I don't know if they're going to have other ways that you can do public comment, but I'll make sure that I check into that. Do you know that, Monica?
Yeah, you can go to their website, Richmond 30, and they have so many plans. So try not to be confused. But there is a place where you can go on and type your comments in on the pages that you have expressed interest. as well as just sending an email. So I presume that they will take them until midnight, although I'm not sure. I hope so, because I need to submit some myself.
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say. Maybe that's homework for us. After this, we all need to go on that plan and take a look at it. Okay, so Monica, so Kia Strelwick said that she appreciated the insights that you were providing
Thank
in your
you.
presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, while we're getting any, we have about 10 minutes left. I'll just say that, you know, it's doing these town halls for me. Oh, we have another one. Oh, we have one. Patient Salgado says, do you do residential work, Montrell?
Yes, we do. We commercial and residential.
So, one of the things, I guess I can just make a little bit of an announcement here. We have a campaign office, y'all, a campaign headquarters that we're going to be opening up soon. I'm not going to say where yet, but we're going to definitely get Brown's Lawn and Order to come out there and spruce up the area, so that when our neighbors come and have questions and want to just interact with me on a one-on-one basis with your mask and with your gloves and with all the things, that we'll be able to do that in a place that's that's fun and that's friendly. And so I'm super excited to work with you on that. That's going to be a great collaboration. And I just want to make sure that folks understand that, you know, it's not that I am, shading any past representatives. I think that at this point, after 18 years, certain things just become, certain strategies become exhausted. And and let me just say this: Brown's Lawn and Order, Montrell Brown, as well as Monica, as far as are not, they're here as subject matter experts. They're speaking about their experience, but they don't necessarily, they're not sharing their vote, who they're voting for with me. I just want to make sure that that's clear. Um, and then also, oh, you know what? There is another question on here. Monica, why do we have so many trail parks in Southside? Did you mean to say trailer, Teresa? I think she meant to say trailer.
Trailer parks in Southside. Well, Southside is unfortunately also historically a transient area. Mm-hmm. So because you had, like I said, the communities were built for corporations and their managers who would have turnover. And then you had a long period where you had some very established communities that would come up, residents. Like it's a lot of people have been here and are here, 30, 40 years. But Southside is known also for its transiency because it has so many apartments and trailer parks. And so that contributes to why those exist. Because it's, one of the least expensive areas to live in the city, perhaps. I never seen that as a statistic, but I would guess so, since 27% of the population is in poverty, and also because of the what we just saw about rental evictions. And I know, as a former realtor, just looking on platforms of real estate, like you, and I guess I shouldn't say the name right now, but if you go online and look at real estate in the 8th district, you will note that many homeowners as well as renters are being evicted at unprecedented rates. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we really have to keep an eye on.
So yes, we're going to be doing a housing. That's the next one. So we have the I, the E, the E, the I, the G, which today's growth. The next one that's up is H for housing, and we're going to be talking about the fact that we are the second highest in the country for our eviction rate. That is not a best list that you want to be on. And so just trying to explore ways that we can help the administration figure out how to get us off of that list, our state legislators. And so it's alarming. It's disheartening. And we definitely need to get to work on bringing us down on that list.
And can I add that I hope that as as the work towards evictions move forward, that we consider incomes, because people get evicted because they don't have money. So oftentimes we focus on, like, for example, the master plan. There was a lot of emphasis on zoning for multi-use and housing development, affordable housing as it's called. I just think that we really need to focus on the creation of work opportunities.
And that kind of goes right back into what we were talking about too, Montrell. It just, a lot of folks would be able to, to get out of the streets and do the right thing if they had gainful employment. And so, do you want to speak on that a little bit? Yeah. Well, no, you don't have to. I was just saying, I thought you were about to say something, but no, I just, making sure that, that we're attracting the businesses that are going to pay fair wages, livable wages, make sure that they have good benefits. And those are the businesses that we want to be able to attract over here in the 8th district. So that just takes us back to, what we were talking about within partnerships and our business guide and things like that, focusing on that. All right. Well, if there's any, okay, there's some more. Okay. So do you support a name change for JD Highway? Okay. So I'm assuming this question is for me, and I'll just go ahead and go on the record to say absolutely 100% I support the name change. And I'm going to say why. Just about what we were just talking about, right? If we are trying to attract these progressive businesses, they're going to bring us livable wages and good things on this corridor and really be a community partner with us. I really don't think that we're going to attract those types of businesses that are going to want to settle on a Jefferson Davis Highway. I just really don't. I think as the city is progressing and we are removing monuments to racism and white supremacy and those supportive institutions, I just think it's time for us to change that corridor. Following the lead of Alexandria, Arlington, there are other parts of the state that have already done this. So I am 100% in support of it. And yeah, that's how I feel about that. Now, there is a list that a really good friend of mine, Adam, who's been helping me work on transportation policy, created a list with some of his partners that lists every single street, corridor, avenue, drive that is named after after someone in the Confederacy. And so I had to find that link and put it out on my page at some point. But we just have a lot of work to do as a city when it comes to rewriting righting those wrongs and how our city streets and everything were named. So yep, that's how I feel about that. I mean, if anybody, I don't know if you all want to take a stance on how y'all feel about Jefferson Davis Highway. You don't have to. I'm assuming that question was for me. But yeah, I feel like moving forward,
Yeah, I totally agree. I had put in a request for the community to consider name changes, so I'm all for it as well. Thanks for the question.
Thank you for the question. Let me see. So actually, we're coming right up on 8 o'clock. I just want to say thank you so much, Montrell Brown. Again, his business is Brown's Lawn and Order. How can people get in contact with you, Montrell, if they want to be able to? How can they? Oh, is it sound down?
You can. Yeah, you can.
Okay, I can hear you.
We're on Facebook at Brown's. We're on Facebook at Brown's Lawn and Order, and Instagram Brown's Lawn and Order. And you go the website is Brown's Lawn and Order at brownslawnandorder.com. That's BROWNSLAWNINORDER at yahoo.com.
Hi, baby. We love the babies. Hi. If Joey was down here, she would be in there. What? Hi. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Montrell, for coming on. And we hope to support you and all of the businesses that are thriving in the 8th soon in my business guide that'll be coming out. But thank you so much for coming on. Okay. And then to Monica.
Yes, thank you.
No, you're welcome. And then Monica, I just want to say, like, your knowledge, your just your commitment to the city already is very inspiring. And I'm just so thankful to, to have you as somebody that I can call, to bounce ideas off and to really, help take our district to the next level. I, I'm very, I'm just thankful that you came on here to help educate us and give us some history about the district. And I'm excited to continue to learn from you.
Well, thank you so very much. I'm excited for your campaign. I love your logo, Sunshine, as you are a ray of sunshine in the 8th district. So thank you so much for all of your work. Yes. I'm thankful for the dialogue and, like you said, the communication as a focus. So you're inspiring a lot of people to be engaged, and we thank you greatly.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And then I will just talk for like one more minute, but basically just to reiterate some of my ideas, increasing and having effective communication across all platforms, just making sure that folks have access to information, a focus on enhanced private and public partnerships, again, with the business guide, just really talking and sitting down with business leadership in the 8th district to really work collaboratively on getting the 8th district where we need it to be. Fostering intentional collaborations with residents like you all. I want to be someone that listens to everyone, not just my supporters. So if you have, if you're harping or if you have constructive criticism, I am okay with it. This is why folks step up to represent folks. It's not to be in agreement all the time. There are going to be times when but I'm going to need to hear from you. So it's all good. And then also fellow representatives, like I said, collaborating with our school board member, collaborating with other members of council, with the administration, with school administration, just really being a partner and a collaborator so that we can really work on action, because we can have plans all day long if we're not going to take action on them. It's just a lot of misguided energy. Roving district meetings around, we talked about that, making sure that folks have access, whether that's attending an in-person meeting, being able to stream it online virtually, being able to see notes about what happened later, the cliff notes for people who don't want to necessarily stick their whole foot in, and that's okay. Making sure that we're identifying all of our parks, public spaces, and thriving activity centers so that we're utilizing them to the best of our ability, and ensuring that we're getting some of the energy from other districts that are, having cultural events. Like we're creating our own vibes over here that people can come from their districts and come visit us over here. And also public art for area beautification. Have so many dope artists in the area. We really want to make sure that we're utilizing them, and they're living right here in the 8th district. So we need to be utilizing assets from our community to help with our growth. Anyways, that is growth for tonight. Again, 1 hour. I try to keep it as close to an hour as possible. I am so thankful for you all tuning in, and we'll see you on the 27th at 7 p.m. for housing. Like always, if you have any information, need any information, or want to contact me, www.amyandthe8th.com, email address info@amyandthe8th.com. We're on, let's see, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. All of that is amyandthe8th.com, Amy and the 8th. And then my phone number, you can even call me. So give me like 10 minutes after this, but you can call me after that, 804-446-1029. You can always call me as well. All right, I'm signing off. Thank you all so much for joining.